Hey guys, this is Gretchen. So one of the things I want to talk about today is a home reimagined. What exactly is that? And why did I name my business that? You know, I've always tried to repurpose and reuse things. And so that in essence is reimagining, right? So you can take something that you already have, but it's not quite working, and rejig it somehow so that you can use it in a new way. Sometimes that's just taking a piece of furniture that no longer works well in a particular area of your room and moving it to another part of the room. Sometimes it's taking that piece of furniture out of one room and putting it in a different room with a completely different function. That's reimagining. The other thing you can do is take pieces that you have or have found or have purchased or been given, and they may not be the right color. Make it the right color. Now, how do you do that? I'm going to do it today with this old piece. I know, well, it's not that old. I guess it's from, what, the 90s? This was very much in vogue at one point in time. It's actually a very cool architectural piece, but it's that brown, bronzy kind of look, and it's a great wall filler, but if it's not the right color, it's not going to work, right? So I'm going to make it work in the space that it's actually being used in, which is a guest bedroom, by using different colors on it. And how am I going to do that? I'm going to do that using Rethunk Junk resin paint. Now, I'm going to be dry brushing various colors that are within my decor onto this piece. Now, I could just paint the whole thing one specific color and maybe put a glaze on it, or distress it and put a glaze, put a wash on it, put metallics on it. I could do all kinds of things. I'm going to experiment. What I want to try to do today is bring into this piece some of the colors that are in the room. And the colors that are in my room are, well, beige, but I have blues, a little bit of greens. So these are the colors that I'm going to use. I'm only going to use 4 colors for this. I'm going to use Rethunk Junk cotton, which is this right here. This is just a coated paper plate. Rethunk Junk cotton. And this is, which one did I use? Gray Mist. This is Gray Mist. This color is Robin's Egg. You see that? Isn't that pretty? And this is my custom color that it's only available through me, through a Home Reimagined, and it's Tidal Pool. Beautiful, beautiful color. So these are my colors. I am just going to use inexpensive, what I call chip, CHIP brushes. I reuse mine. A lot of people will just throw them out when they're done. But I'm going to use these. I like the coarse texture. Now, do not use these brushes when you're painting furniture or you want something with a smooth finish. It's not going to give you that smooth finish. These are inexpensive brushes. I use them a lot for dry brushing technique, for finishing techniques, and just don't, okay? The other thing I'm going to have here is just a big fluffy old brush that I've just used over and over. I like it because it's fluffy, and I'm going to use it to kind of smooth out some things and buff out some things. I also have some shop towels. You can use paper towels, that's fine. And I'm going to have my handy dandy little bottle of water that I'm going to use to kind of spray my brushes with. Now, the first thing I did is dusted my piece off. Just needed it. And I used a little bit of our Rethunk Junk prep. This is the jumbo prep. This is the refill. And I use it in a trigger spray thing because I have a little arthritis, and the little tiny little, this kind of action is hard for me. This is easier for me. So there's the tip. Buy the jumbo. You can get smaller one of these. Anyway, I digress. I cleaned my piece, and it wasn't that dirty. Took a little bit of the finish off, and that's really key because that's preparing the surface for the paint. So the surface is now just a little bit duller than it was. I didn't have to scrub, don't have to do a whole lot of stuff because this paint is going to really stick. But I just want to make sure that I didn't have any polish on it. I never would have polished this, but you know what I'm saying. You don't want any wax or polishes or anything like that. So let's get to it. Hang on. Okay. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to check my brush. I don't know if you can see, but it's got a little hair sticking out of it. Pull that out. I do these regardless if I've got brand new brushes, expensive brushes, brushes I've washed out over and over. You always want to check, make sure you don't have any loose fibers, because that's no fun picking that out. I'm going to start with the cloud, and I'm just going to dip my brush just a little bit, and I'm going to tap off. Need a little bit more than I got. Kind of tap it off. Do I have like that? Okay. Now I'm still going to tap off on my cloth here, my paper towel. Now, when you first start, your first stroke is going to leave the heaviest amount of paint. So just be aware of that. Don't freak out. It's all going to work out. So let's see. I'm just going to kind of go up here. I like doing just long strokes. And I want to get kind of all over the piece. Now I know I'm in the way, so let me get out of the way. So I don't know if that even showed up very well, but I'm going to keep going and you'll see. So I'm doing the same technique, loading up my brush, offloading. Here, I'll do something down here because I think this will be more something that you can see. Now remember, I'm going to do several colors, so, and I'm not, with this technique, I'm not looking to cover the whole piece of paint, if that, the whole piece in paint solid, because if that were the case, I would take my regular brush, and I would take my regular jar of paint, and I would just be painting on. But I'm going for more of a dry brush interest here. And I'm just going to kind of randomly cover this in the cotton. Now I could have used cloud, I could have used, you know, any other color. It's just whatever works in your particular color scheme. The main thing is I'm erasing all this brown. But I may leave some of it poking through because that in itself is going to lead to a little bit of interest and a little bit of dimension. I just don't want the whole thing just reeking of bronzy brown 90s. Now I'm going to come back and I'm going to add, I think I'm going to start adding color. I'll do the gray later on. So I'm going to kind of go back and forth between my two blue greens. I may use the same brush, I don't know, but I am going to put a little water on this brush. This is water, this is, see, H2O. Even though it's in a bottle, normally would have prep in it. Just what I use. Okay, so getting rid of some of that moisture. And my paint's been sitting for a little while, and that's not something I would do normally. Normally, I would only pull it out as I need it. pretty color, isn't it? Okay, so this is robin's egg. Excuse me. Same process. So pretty. I hope you can see that. So there's the difference. You see a little bit of that blue-green as opposed to just the white of the cloud, cotton. Oh, I love this patina. Isn't that pretty? All right, so I'm going to kind of pull this through randomly around here, lightly in some places, have more in others. Trying to leave some of the cotton still showing through in some places. If I were to do this and maybe do dark glaze over it afterwards, it would really have a real aged patina look, I think. And that may be what I go with. I don't know. That's the fun in doing this. You can kind of make it up as you go. And you can't really screw it up. So much more dimension coming on here. I'm going to try something a little different right now. I kind of like how this is shaping up. I pretty much just used that robin's egg on the interesting pieces in here. But I have this framework right here that I want to make it a little bit more distinctive. So I'm going to try. I don't know if it's going to work or what it's going to look like, but I'm going to try using a Tidal pool in there primarily. Same technique that I've been doing, but just want to give you a little explanation of what I'm trying. This may not work, but you don't know till you try, right? All right, so I do like this. So I'm going to just concentrate on doing this one color on this grid system. I'm still going to address the outside, the big frame area in a little bit, but right now this is what I'll be doing with the Tidal pool. Okay, so to recap where we are right now, the overall piece has gotten a very light coat of the lightest color. I then went in to the main area here and I put my first bluish green color, which was the robin's egg. And then I came back and more the inside grid area I did in Tidal pool, which is the darker blue-green turquoisey kind of color. So I'm going to now work on the frame, and then I hope to tie it all in together. So in the frame, I'm going to be using gray mist, and I'm going to be feathering that in down here, and probably doing a little bit heavier coat. So let's get going, and I'm just using the brush I used before on the cotton. Same technique. Nothing's changed. See if you can see down here. Let's start down here. Oh yeah. The the layering of colors adds a little bit more interest than I think if you just paint something one flat color. Nothing wrong with that, and you can definitely do techniques over it, but I just personally like the look of layers, and I just find it interesting and quite frankly fun to do. Worst case, you do this, you hate it, pick whichever color you like the best, paint the whole thing that color. Like I said before, you can always glaze it, distress it, do any number of things. But why not play, if you have leftover paint, Rethunk Junk paint, why not play a little bit with your colors and see if you can tie a piece into your room a little bit better. So here we go. Okay, it's good from time to time to step back, evaluate your piece. I always tell my students it's good to step back a few feet to observe your piece the way most people will be looking at it. When we're working on a piece and it's right there in our face, we tend to get fixated, or we tend to not see the overall picture. And so I think that's just good to do, particularly if you're doing layering and any other multiple color techniques. So what I've done is I've stepped away, and I see some things that I like, I see some things I don't like. So now I'm going to stay within my 4-color palette, and I'm going to play around a little bit with adding a little bit more dimension. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I've allowed this to dry, and the Rethunk Junk resin paint dries very quickly on metal, so just know that. I know I didn't discuss that earlier, but pretty much when I was done with one color, I went right back around with another color. There was no lifting up of the paint or mixing of colors. So what I want to do now is I want to come back and take my lightest color, which is cotton, highlight this a little bit, and I'm still on the fence with what's going on with the overall frame. So I'm going to kind of play with it a little bit and figure out what I want to do, and in the end I'll tell you what I did. So anyway, but for now, let me get just another brush. This is just a clean one because I've already used the one I used for cotton. So I'm going to get a clean one, and I have just a smidge of cotton left on my paint, on my plate. I'm going to put a little water on my brush just because I have a fan on. The paint's been sitting here for a while. It's drying out a little bit, so I just want to get some moisture back in that paint. The paint is water-based, so you can add water to it. You can dilute it, probably no more than 20%. That really does help when you're working on projects. So here we go. Let's see what this looks like. Now, I don't want to cover up my pretty colors. I see a little bit. Maybe I need a little bit more. A little bit more. Gotta be careful because you don't want to do too much and destroy what you've already established here. Yeah, okay, so I'm liking this. And you may not be seeing this here, but in the end, I will show a close-up so you can kind of see this. Just hitting a little bit with the lighter color, and it's really cool. That's popping it a little bit. So, all right, I'm gonna leave you for now. I'm gonna work on this, and in the end, I'll come back. I'll show you what I did, and we can talk about some things other than that. Thanks. Hold on. Okay, so as I said, I was going to reevaluate, kind of figure out what I want to do. So I've started playing with the frame, and I like this a lot better than I like that. So what I'm doing to achieve that is I've gone to a regular brush. I've reloaded with some gray mist and some cotton. I am throwing some water on my paint as well as my brush, and I'm brushing it on just to get a smoother look. So let's see if I can get this so you can see. So I'm actually mixing my paints a little bit. You can do that, you know, mix paints. So let's see, can you see? I'll do it down here where you can probably see better. So I'm still getting kind of that weathered, grainy look that I still want. But I'm getting more coverage, which I think kind of helps make the center section pop out. So this is the process I'm going through. Okay, so remember the part when I said that I might have to play with this and do some different things to it till I'm happy? And that's going to be the case. I feel like in the room that I want this to go in, I need to bring a little warmth back to it. So I'm going to do this by giving it a little bit of patina using the Rethunk Junk Dark Glaze. And I'm actually watering the glaze down. The glaze is much thicker when it comes out of the container than this is. I can't tell you the ratio. You just kind of have to find what floats your boat. So I'm going to take a brush and I'm going to dip it into my watered down glaze. I have handy a terry cloth sponge that is slightly damp. It's not wringing out water, it's just slightly damp. And what I will be doing, let me lose the spoon. What I will be doing is brushing on the glaze and then gently wiping back. So here it goes. It's going to be a little drippy. I'm going to do one section at a time. So I've brushed it on. Now I'm going to wipe back. Now, when this dries, it's going to dry a little darker, so just be aware of that. If you want more patina, I would not water down the glaze quite as much. If you're looking for a light patina like I am, then the watering down definitely helps. So I'm going to do the rest of the outline edges here. Okay, so it's still drying. This is with the final step of a little bit of dark glaze watered down, primarily on the outside frame here. I admit I did come and kind of hit these guys, where am I, with a little bit of that dark glaze. Not the whole thing, just these things. And I am loving the result. So I can't wait to get this thing dried and hung back on the wall. Get back a little bit further and show you how it looks. Just a little bit of Rethunk Junk, guys.